Howdy, I'm CyberX with Outlandishly Crafted, and today we're going to be talking about spicing up those NPCs and those characters and giving them a little bit of life. You know? So here we've got a villager, person, character, whatever you want to call it, and we've got some eyes blinking, we've got some mouth movement. We've got some head movement, which is good. And if we just sit here for a second, she looks away. Rubs her nose. Looks down, and generally will do other things. Look away, her eyes are moving when she looks away. Biggest thing is to get the staring to stop. She still stares some, of course, when you're up close, but then when you back away and go on to your other thing, if you notice, when you look at their head, I've got them to where they'll say hello the first time, and then they won't say it again for quite a while, so that they're not harassing you with it. But let's look at how the NPC's face and body are set up. So right off the bat, let's start with the eyes. I think an easy thing that you can do in most of the NPCs you're working with is just add an eyelid layer. It's a bone, and you're just putting art in it. So it's an art layer. I'm blending it with the eyelashes or eyebrow on the top here, so that when it closes and it opens, it's just blending those together. And then I'm just scaling it up and down. So really the blink is just a scale. And then I run it over a period, and I have the eyes move just a little bit, you can see in there. So the eyes are just wiggling a little bit to give some feel of movement. And that's all it is. That's a simple 3D eyelid, and you can really easily add, this took very little extra art. I just, when I set it up on the atlas, I just use that area to start with and then copy over the eye and just draw over it, and it makes a really nice effect. If you're doing it in a less pixelated or a higher pixels, you can make it better. If you're doing low pixels, then it's going to be more square, and it'll work the same anyways. And you just won't blend it as much. Another way to do it is to have it go in and out. So instead of it scaling from the top down, and it's important that you have your pivot point in the right spot. So a lot of times, in this case, the pivot point will be somewhere in the, right there, it's the very top. And so that when it scales, it's going all the way up. But you could have it go in and out of the face. So you could have it go this way on blue and just pop out and then pop back in for the flash as well, for the eyes. But when you're doing higher detail, I find that it works better to actually put in the movement of the eyelids, because it just gives a lot more life to it. So you can, when you're sitting back and you're talking to them, you get such a better feel. The big thing is, don't do it exact, so try to keep the numbers off some so it doesn't look robotic. And then for the mouse, I got this model given to me, and so I'm not trying to add a lot of art to it. I'm just the developer, so I don't want to get in and have to draw new stuff and edit people's stuff. So all I did is I took on the mouth and flipped it. So the mouth is just literally the frown mouth I had before, and then I make it visible for a smile face, and it's on top of the frown, so you can't see the frown, and that's it. That's all the mouth movement is. But just that enough. We've learned with South Park and other animated series that you don't have to animate a lot on the face to get all of those, to get a more lively feel to them. So another thing is how the head looks. One of the things, let's see. So the head does its thing there. The next one was how do you move, and having a lot more of these idle movements. And one of the idle movements I think is nice is to look away. So it's nice to force the head to not stare. And so one of the things I have in here that I'll play from time to time is it's just going to overwrite the idle, and it's going to look away at a different angle. So it might look down at a feet, it might look up the sky, it might look to the sides, and it's going to overwrite the look at target so that you just get more of a feel. Most people don't just stare at each other, and I think a lot of times, and people comment this, if you watch the streaming videos of people playing Minecraft, they'll comment about NPCs staring at them or how it feels because it doesn't feel natural. So this is a good way to help solve that. Another one is make sure and add an animation for when they're in the rain. That's a good way to just get some reaction. Breathing. So I like to put my breathing in as a separate thing. And so I'm just scaling on the chest. I'm just scaling in and out, so you get that breathing effect. Typically on a humanoid, the whole body doesn't move when you breathe. Like your shoulders might move. You might, you have a skeletal structure. Your head shouldn't be like moving and your whole body scaling. And you'll see a lot of people apply this to the whole body. Instead of just taking your humanoid and reworking its body, you don't have to use the Minecraft vanilla bone layout. You can move the body into a waist like it should be, like any normal bone structure would be for a humanoid. You don't have to use the default vanilla poor layout. So just by doing that, it also gives you the ability to bend at the waist, which is critical. If you want to ride stuff and you want to be able to sit on stuff and lean over, which I put in a lot of my games, it's critical to be able to bend at the waist, which isn't a thing that's in Minecraft vanilla. So those are things that you can fix and add in there with no problem. Just make sure that you're not using any bone names that are used anywhere else. So that gives you a good idea of just cleaning up the villagers and all the humanoids in a really easy way. Add in quite a few idols. So really quick, let's go look at how are these idols set up, because that's the next piece of the pie is, well, how do I get this into the game? So we have animations. We just have all those animations listed. And then I have sit coming from the NPC ride. So all these are listed. In here I have my mouth, and it's just playing on a loop. My eyes, they're just playing on a loop. Sit, cues when I'm writing. Breathing, just playing on a loop. In rain, playing on a cue. And it's looped. So you can see it only takes a second to set these up. So most of these things that are adding life to your character set up once, no AC required, and then they're just there and you're good and you're done and you just move on. The only thing that requires an AC is the movement and the idols. And so when it's not raining, then we're going to run our AC. And so our AC is here, NPC movement AI. So we're going to jump up to our animation controller. This is RP animation controller because we're working on the resource pack side, the client side. So we have right here NPC movement AI, and all I've done is set up an array of math randoms. So idle 0, idle 0A. I wanted to make some more, so I actually added in some more. So you have all of these idles, and then I just put in a whole bunch of randoms to say if it's random and it's less than 0.25, do this one. Pick a random, and if it's this, then do this one, and so on. And then they just fire them. And in some of them, I added in head, don't stare. So that's 0 and 0A. And so in 0, you do don't stare, and in 0A, you do stare in essence. And it just gives that ability that on these randoms, at some point it will look at you, and some points it won't look at you. And just with this, you get a lot of life out of it. That randomness is going to add a lot of variety. So if you have a whole bunch of NPCs in a room together, they're not going to be doing the same thing. They're all going to be doing different things. And that even if they start at the same point and you spawn them at the same point, and you turn the game on at the same point, they're not all going to be repeating the same junk. And this will help break that apart and make it to where you could expand this to 100. There's no limit here. You just make the random number larger and break it down from there. So just being able to do this, adding them in, and just, I don't know, this took me like 20 minutes, maybe less. Once you get it down, it doesn't take lots. If you teach it to your artists and teach it to your modelers, you can very quickly just have those eye blinking and all of that logic all in the game right off the bat without having to do all of those other things, which I think is really nice to have. So let's look at really quick that sit, since I brought that up. So let's grab a chair and we prop a chair down. When I sit in the chair, I want to be able to move my body around. You know? Like I want to be able to bend and react and look down at the ground and be lively. And so don't feel like you can't reorganize the player body. You can just keep in mind that when you do it, you have to do it for all three of them, because there's three. There's Steve, there's Alex, and then there's custom. And so you do the body change in all of those, and then don't delete any bones. Just make sure all the bones stay in there. So there you go. That's how to add more advanced NPCs and humanoids, and just simply adding in blinking in eyelids and eye movement and smiling and a little bit more of a idle. And then we can also really quick do weather, rain, and you can see that I've got her protected right now, but we unprotect her and now she is in the rain. We could also teach her to sit in the chair. You can see my little worms came out of the branches when I broke them. We could teach her to sit in the chair. That's a whole other thing on the behavior side, but that's another good way to help. Like at night, she sits in the chair, or she lays down, or she does something else to stay alive. Versus you can see this guy that I haven't done, he just stares at me. That's all he does. His eyes don't change. He doesn't blink. He doesn't change his mouth movement. He doesn't move his arms. He does nothing. This is a typical style vanilla character that you'd get. Now look at the difference of these two. Like, which of these feels alive and feels like what you want to interact with in the game? And so we stop the rain and just look right there. She looks away. It feels comfortable, and you could change how long that is. Another piece of that is how you interact. So when I walk up and I talk, I want to have some interaction, to where now I can get feedback and information, and when I talk to her again, I accepted the quest and now it gives me more information, and oh, where's the trader, and oh, reset the quest, and okay, I'll go do it. And just getting that feedback helps a lot in the interaction and bringing the game to life. So that's it for today. That's how to spice up your NPCs and stuff. I'm CyberAxe with Outlandishly Crafted. If you'd like to support me, go check out my games, Dragonfire and Dragonfire Nation, on the marketplace. Check out my website, Outlandishly Crafted. If you need more help, put it in the comments or put it on the Discord channels for Blockbench or Bedrock add-ons or Bridge or one of those. Someone will help you out. Thank you very much.